We are covering a team. They have a rookie named Gabe Jacas who's been back on the field this week. And, the first couple days was just like, oh, he's out there. Nice, good. He's making progress. And it really didn't matter what he did on the rim. Mm-hmm. He's starting to make plays. I'm with 3 pressures today. He beat Lomo. He beat Crownover. He beat Bryant. Now, he still hasn't really gone against Campbell. He still hasn't really gone against Morgan Moses. We'll see what happens when the Colts come in. They obviously have some good tackles, and the Eagles do as well. But if you didn't know about the whole missing a week and missing the whole spring, you'd be like, all right, that guy's having a good summer. And, he still is, but there's obviously more baggage that comes with it. But, can I get excited about Gabe Jacas? Is this for real?
I think so, and I will say, and I keep mentioning this, but at one point I saw Gabe Jacas standing next to Elijah Ponder, who I constantly talk about as being a freak athlete in amazing shape. Gabe Jacas is built like an action figure, and you can't really appreciate it, I think, as much on the tape when you're surrounded by these guys, but he's a physical specimen, and then the fact that is translating to the field where you see the power, obviously, but then the way he builds off of it, where he's able to get around tackles, and he's able to kind of use different areas of his skill set, some twitchiness, where, again, not the most explosive or twitchiest athlete, but he's more than good enough in those areas to complement the rest of what he has. So I think it's plenty fair to be excited, especially given, I think we all were trying to be very tame in our responses and our expectations of Gabe Jacas, but the fact that he seems to be improving and making some kind of impression every single day is telling.
Yeah, I was freaking out about the edge rusher position this offseason. You know that. We talked about it ad nauseum on the show, and I thought with Harold Landry starting on PUP, Jacas not yet signed, it kind of felt like it was going to be a disaster. We didn't know how quickly he would get up to speed, and he's been awesome. Right out of the gate, he's up to speed. He's making plays. As you said, he's stringing good practices together. He's not buried on the depth chart either. They're not really... you got to obviously earn your keep or what have you, but they're getting him involved basically right away. A lot of second-team reps, first-team reps here and there, and he's making the most of it. So I know that it's still, concerning with some of the depth of the position, but I think the way he's come in and been a professional and also putting the offseason drama behind him, people were trying to dig into him a little bit when he spoke. It was like, yeah, but what's wrong? Is your knee okay? What happened? And he was just like, I'm putting it behind me. I'm not talking about it. We're here and we're ready to roll. So it's all been good so far.
You mentioned the work he's doing. We talked about it in the last crossover, right? That potential timeline of can he be back for the joint practices? It kind of feels that way. Brian, I'll give you a thought on Jacas in a second. Just jumping on Mike. Can I both be excited about Gabe Jacas and still worried about the edge position? Sure.
I was gonna say I'm excited what we've seen from Gabe Jacas, but I don't want to say he's gonna come out here and put up 15 sacks and save the edge group. No. Right? They obviously needed bodies, and what we've seen from him has been encouraging. But I still think there's a lot of questions with that group.
And even if he proves to be a decent player, that's one. And I don't want to say he's the only decent player. Elijah Ponder is a good rotational player, Draymond Jones, but we talked about. They were, if you take Landry and Jacas out, they were 2 bodies short. Yeah. And, so they got Jacas back. Anyone else find it notable? Mike Vrabel gave a rundown of all the injuries today, except for Harold Landry.
I feel like the way they've handled this, Harold Landry seems like a guy where, hey, if he's good, he'll be good. But it feels kind of gloom and doom surrounding him.
That
I have no
could be an issue for them.
Harold Landry
I don't either.
Anymore. Yeah. You can't. I don't think you can expect him to come back. It sounds crazy, but he hasn't been out here. We haven't seen him since the Super Bowl. What can you expect from him?
So I'm not ready to do is Harold Landry going to open the season on PUP conversation just yet? Oh, I think in a week we probably do that.
I think we've had that conversation.
No, but not the what if.
Is
he going to?
I thought we've had that conversation.
You think so? All right. Yeah. All right, fair enough. Do you guys think he is?
At this point, kind of, yes.
Fair enough. I was thinking about that today. When do we do a whole thing about this?
Yeah. Remember when we talked about it on the show, we were like, is this a good thing for Jacas or a bad thing for Landry? Turns out it might be both.
Yeah, it might be both.
It's a scorching hot sports summer, and you can make all of your picks on the Prize Picks app. Women's basketball, baseball, heating up. Football preseason games just around the corner as well. We had one last night. And we got Big Tennis Slams, major golf tournaments as well, and there's no better place for all of your sports picks than on Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. As we said, preseason is here, and there is no better place to run your game than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. We got stars on new teams, a rookie class ready to roll, and all while teams are getting started on the biggest football season yet. So make a lineup with player stats, pick game winners, spreads, or totals, and combine your picks in the same lineup. And you can do so in all 50 states right now on the Prize Picks app. And all you got to do is download it today and use code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Again, just download the app today And use code CLNS, you get $150 in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app.
Elsewhere on the defense, it's just kind of the check-in on this. We've been talking about it. Depth at linebacker, depth at corner. You guys out there watching, we appreciate tuning in. Ask us about this a ton. We've gotten some emergences. Karan Prunty continues to make plays. Khalil Jacobs has stepped up. He's been good. Where you got just a thought on those positions and the defensive depth. And is there anybody else I didn't mention there that you think deserves some recognition? Brian, we'll start with you.
I'll start with linebacker. This was a position I think we all talked about after the draft. Like, they didn't draft one. Do they need a little bit more at linebacker? Well, they drafted Obi Izar late, but we were talking a top 100 pick maybe at that spot, and they didn't. But Chad Muma has really been the linebacker 3 since the spring. He's looked very impressive. He had another tight downfield incompletion he helped force today on Raritan or Hunter Henry as one of the tight ends, and then Khalil Jacobs we've seen kind of start rising up the depth chart late. He had a would-be sack today and a pass breakup as well. So two of the young guys there in Muma have been really impressive at the backup linebacker.
Should have been an interception from Khalil Jacobs.
Yeah, he did get hit right between the numbers. Can I be unreasonable for a second?
Sure. No.
So I really like Chad Muma in the draft, and it looks like the Patriots maybe got something or getting something out of him that his previous teams couldn't. So I really liked that whole linebacker draft. I thought that draft was great. Troy Anderson got released by the Falcons today. Kind of similar player, athletic, maybe a little undersized, but not small, and can play kind of that coverage rusher role. And obviously he was a bust in Atlanta. They just cut him. But all right, they fixed Chad Muma. Can they fix Troy Anderson next? Can I get on that?
I think they're working on fixing Namdi Obi Izar.
Well, he really hasn't been on the field.
Anderson was a second-round pick?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Jeez, yeah. And who else? It was Leo Chenal was in that class, and there are a couple. Obviously, there are a couple Georgia guys as linebacker, but Taylor, Obi Izar, you just brought him up. We really still aren't seeing him. He's been passed by Khalil Jacobs and some of these other guys. Does he still have a chance to compete for a role on this team, or is he bound for the practice squad?
I think he's going to have to kill it on special teams this preseason to make it to the roster. Okay. Because if he doesn't, then what is he doing that would make you afraid to put him on waivers and think you couldn't get him on the practice squad? So,
and what is he doing that Chad Muma or even KJ Britt or Khalil Jacobs aren't?
He is. And the thing about Muma is I feel like we thought he was more of a will. Didn't expect he was going to be the green dot, the middle linebacker, but he has, and that is the skill set that I didn't know he possessed. So that versatility that Muma has, I think, is very important. And also, the KJ Britt situation is so weird to me. I don't know if it's that they love Khalil Jacobs or saying, hey, this guy's cheaper, he's faster, we just like his skill set better, because I figured they'd want that one-to-one Jack Gibbons replacement. So it's intriguing. It's cool that two guys that personally weren't really on my radar, and I still remember the day you were putting your roster projection together and you had Muma. I was like, I don't know. And that was the day that I really started to notice him on a consistent basis. So credit to Barth. He was on top of that one.
So the Patriots did just officially release David Blake and sign safety Eric Butler. So some depth,
some roster moves. Taylor, to go back to that though, isn't Muma the Jack Gibbons replacement now? Isn't that what's kind of happening?
I feel like he's just the third guy because I think he can play Mike or Will. The way that they've been using him, it feels like they're comfortable having him play both.
Mike,
as far as just depth across the board, I think it's telling that Carlton Davis will be out the entirety of next week. We haven't seen Charles Woods was not out there again today, so you're testing that depth at corner. I'm curious to see what happens there once the regular season comes around because still waiting on the Christian Gonzalez extension. So the depth at corner. While some guys are out there making plays, you talk about Prunty, you talk about Vildor,
Crossley, Brandon Crossley.
Yeah, so some of those guys are making plays, but the depth is still being tested with some of the injuries. So once the regular season comes around, you're playing higher competition. Even next week when you see Indianapolis, a different receiving core, I'll be curious to see how that shakes out.
They put Vildor right back in the mix. He'd kind of fallen out when Prunty had started surging, and now he's back in there with Davis out and Woods out. Mm-hmm. I still want to see Prunty get that real shot, and even Crossley. I haven't been impressed with Kindle Vildor. I think they really want a veteran, and I kind of get it.
In Kindle Vildor's defense, he broke up 2 passes to AJ Brown on the sideline today. So.
Well, one of them I think was that was going to be complete either way, but he had.
Was that the first one?
Yes.
Okay.
It was a little. I
couldn't really see, to be fair. So yeah.
But I still want to see Prunty take on more of a role, and maybe that comes in the joint practices in the preseason game. I'm not even necessarily telling you he's going to play up to it. I just think he's earned it, and I'm curious, and I'd rather find out than keep having to be what's he going to do with the bigger role? So that's where I'm at with him. Real quick, Brian, any special teams thoughts?
Andy Borgal is still good. He did have one, like probably his worst miss of the summer today, I would say. Early on, I think it was from like 35, 40 yards, missed a field goal, missed an extra point too, but bounced back, couple makes over 50 plus, especially the 54-yarder on Drake May's 1-minute drive, so one of those pressure kicks. So he's still been really good. Kick returners has been kind of the usual group still going on, and seems like Bryce is still punting the ball well. And I think the big thing with Bryce, we talked a lot about this offseason, is like you wanted to be more consistent. Interesting, just he was at the podium the other day and said the number one thing, his goal this offseason, taking on a new mental approach to be more consistent. So that was just good to hear on that side.
I'll just add, and it goes back to something we talked about earlier. Mike Vrabel said we're going to have a role for Kyle Williams. I think kick returner is going to be part of it. And that actually, if he's not going to be super involved every week, makes it a little easier to put a guy back there that, like, you know, you're not risking as much as, say, like Trayvon Henderson, right, who's your starting running back. So he's been squarely in the mix there. I don't think that's by accident.
Make sure to subscribe to our new channel, Patriots Newsfeed on CLNS, giving you clips, behind-the-scenes footage, and much more. And as always, keep it here, our Patriots on CLNS, for our full podcast videos.